2012, the year the world ended, and we had to stop Coney or some shit. I don't know, did anyone ever stop that guy? My top 40 albums of 2012. I think I've said already that I would do top 50s, but it's come to my attention that some of these years that I've looked back on have albums that I didn't actually love as much as I thought, so it's only going to be top 50 in some years, but this year is going to be a top 40. Number 40, Flume's electronic debut album, which is pretty underrated and quite enjoyable. Number 39, Scott Walker's Bisch Bosch. This album, I'm telling you man, this album's insane. It is the weirdest shit ever, and Scott Walker just went wild. Hop Along at 38. This is a pretty cute indie band that, again, is fairly underrated, and I do believe they deserve a bit more attention. 37, Torche with Harmonicraft. This is a crazy sludge stoner metal album. Not many metal albums hit me in that kind of way, but this is one of those that I do believe is quite brilliant. Number 36, Chairlift with their debut Something, and at number 35 we have Japandroids with their album Celebration Rock. Yes, I'm not a college hipster, but this album is pretty good. 34, Baroness, one of my favourite rock bands of the past few years, with their album Yellow and Green. 33, Decapitation with Monolith of Inhumanity, a pretty insane album. And then 32, one of the only albums by The Men that I like, but this is a really good punky, garagey album titled Open Your Heart. Number 31, a nice, beautiful singer-songwriter piano-based album from Soap&Skin titled Narrow. I believe she's Norwegian, so definitely do check her out. Number 30, one of their more dark wave-based albums from Liars with their album WIXIW. And then 29, we have Joey Badass's debut mixtape, which put him absolutely on the map, 1999. Number 28, Cloud Nothings with Attack on Memory. And number 27, one of the coolest electronic albums to come out in recent years, Galaxy Gardens by Lone. Number 26, a really cool jazz and sample-based album from Karriem Riggins titled Alone Together. And 25, we have John Talabot's really good micro house, deep house, outsider house album, Finn. 24, we have my absolute favourite, Schoolboy Q album. I don't think he's ever topped this album, to be honest, but a lot of people will disagree. But Habits and Contradictions, my friend, is absolutely the best Schoolboy album. 23, I've got Black Breath with Sentence to Life. And then at 22, yes, 22, we have I never know how to say her name. iamamiwhoami. I think that's how you say her name. The album Kin, anyway, it's a very good art pop album. If you're a fan of Bjork, Kate Bush, FKA Twigs, that kind of thing, check her out. And 21, the excellent comeback album from Spiritualized, Sweetheart, Sweet Light. The top 20 is here. Not my favourite Fly Low album, but Until the Quiet Comes is still a very good album from Fly Low, a very consistent electronic artists. Again, my favourite is probably Cosmogramma, but still, every album I think has been very good. 19, Wild Nothing with their album Nocturne. I feel like I reference this one a lot because it's a very well-made indie, pop, soft rock, dream pop album, which I think is one of the better ones of the past few years that have been released. 18, Alt J's huge debut album, which contains some of the biggest indie singles of the year, like Breeze Blocks. Their debut album, An Awesome Wave, was very good in my opinion. 17, Billy Woods, History Will Absolve Me, one of the most underrated MCs of today. This album is excellent, perhaps his best that I've ever heard from him. I don't know if he has topped this one, to be honest. He's come close, but every album since then has been really good. Honestly, if you like hip-hop and you've never checked out this guy, please go and check him out. 16, we've got the rock album from Parquet Court's Light Up Gold. Again, another album from a band that I think is their best. And then at 15, we have one of the most critically acclaimed albums of 2012 and of this decade, without a doubt. Tame Impala's Lonerism, a very well-made psychedelic rock album with pop elements as well, which was likened to the Beatles at points, which was a huge compliment towards this band. And yeah, I thought this album was pretty exceptional. An underrated post-punk album from Holograms at number 14. If you like bands like Ice Age, then do give this one a try. 13, I of course found this one through Mr. Anthony Fantano, because I don't think anyone was talking about this when this came out, but a Latin influenced Spanish dance album by a band called Onda Tropica. It's honestly quite fantastic, and if you listen to this album, there is a Black Sabbath cover on there, but honestly, they do this so well, and you just want to dance the whole way through. 12, 12, 12, 12, Death Grips, Death Grips, Death Grips, No Love, Deep Web. Somehow, one of their noisier albums, but yet they didn't have much instrumentation at all. It was very minimal, but it still kept to the Death Grips roots that they've always been known for. But of course, this isn't the best Death Grips album from 2012. No. 11, what I think could be the best album from A$AP Rock, Skeleton. This has some of the most banging beats on here, so experimental and off-kilter, and yet, of course, A$AP Rock never gives away any of his skills or talents. Just because some of the beats might be out there and adventurous, you still get the same A$AP Rock rapping his ass off all over these tracks, saying words that you have to define on a dictionary. You know A$AP Rock by now. He's incredible. Now for the top 10 albums of 2012. Bad Bad Not Good, improving upon their debut quite exponentially, I think, and incorporating some of the most exciting samples and covers on this album. There's that Feist cover on here, Flashing Lights they even cover as well, in such an incredibly improvised jazz way. Yeah, Bad Bad Not Good are really good, and you've got to check him out. Number 9, so underrated, this album. Honestly, I don't know why not many people ever talk about Bat for Lashes, but the Haunted Man album is just incredible. Honestly, this album has pop elements, there are heartbreaking, emotional moments. It just has everything you want from a singer-songwriter album. Honestly, Bat for Lashes, and so it's a shame that she went on to put out some Met albums after this, but this has got to be her best. Honestly, this is wonderful. Number 8, we have TDE member Absolve with Control System. I think, again, this is by far his best album. Some tracks on here just have some of the most interesting topics that he's ever touched upon, like double standards and just many issues that he just was able to rap about in such a good way over some really good beats. This is one of my favorite TDE albums, without a doubt. It's probably like my top 5 in the TDE discography for sure. And yeah, Absolve, man, he's very talented. He's one of the better rappers out there, and this is my favorite album from him. 7, Dope Body with Natural History. This was quite a good year for rock music, actually. A lot of rock albums on my list here, more so than most other years, I'd say. This is a really good rock album, probably the best of the year. This was just so intense. The instrumentals were just throttling, and the vocals are quite empowered as well. I really like the band Dope Body. Again, though, this is probably their best. They didn't quite reach up to the heights with subsequent releases, but Natural History is incredible. Number 6, Killer Mike. Obviously he has to be on your 2012 best albums list. Rap music is on par with the albums that came from Run the Jewels, I believe. I think a lot of people forget this. Although Run the Jewels have put out some of the best music over the past few years, Killer Mike was doing pretty damn great music before Run the Jewels, as was LP. But I wasn't really that into Cancer for Cure, to be honest. I found the beats a little too wild. I think that LP's previous albums were way better than Cancer for Cure by far. But Killer Mike is, yeah, he won 2012 with his album here. This album is so good. Big Beast is just incredible. He speaks on political issues just like they do in Run the Jewels. He's the same guy, just on his own, and LP helped production on this one as well, so of course we saw the future really with what things were going to turn out to be with this album. And yeah, I love Killer Mike's and solo music, so do check this out if you never have, especially if you're a Run the Jewels fan. Number 5, Perfume Genius, put you back into it. This guy got better with every release. Like, seriously, this is probably one of his weakest albums, but it's still incredible. That's how good this guy is. And the tracks like Hood are just so beautifully made. You just hear the pain in his voice all across this album, but it's just perfectly made. Honestly, this album is one of the better singer-songwriter albums of that year, should I say. And yeah, Perfume Genius, gotta check out his discography if you never have. Please do, please. Fiona Apple at 4 with The Idol Wheel. I can't be bothered to read out the whole title. I never have read the whole title because it's so long. But my god, Fiona Apple, seriously, I just love her. Her music is just perfection, utter perfection. This is a breakup album, and you feel everything that's going on in Fiona Apple's mind on this one. She put out some great albums prior to this, but this one was just one of those late career albums that just really just was amazing. Like, you just wouldn't think she'd top her previous work, but she just did by far with this one. Honestly, this album, one of my favourite, like, painful, heartbreaking releases of this decade, without a doubt. This will be like top 5 for me in terms of like singer-songwriter breakup albums or heartbreaking, painful emotional albums. This is just up there with some of the best of all time, like your Joni Mitchells. Seriously, this is incredible. Number 3, we have Death Grips again. Death Grips, The Money Store. I think this might be my favourite Death Grips album. I know it's an obvious pick, like it's everyone's favourite Death Grips album, and I know some people even said Bottomless Pit topped this one, but for me, no, this one is the one. This one has the best mix of abrasive music with catchy music. Somehow they were able to do that on tracks like I've Seen Footage and Fever II. Like, yeah, this is just amazing. Honestly, this will go down as a classic, I think, just even within the internet people, because this won't be accessible for mainstream people, but for the people in the know, they know how good this is. This is honestly amazing. Some of the most forward-thinking and off-kilter experimental music you'll ever hear. Honestly, yeah, Death Grips, they just continue to blow your mind. Channel Orange by Frank, your boy Frank, at number 2. Now, I know now people are saying that Blonde is his best album. I don't think so. I think this is the one, I think this is Frank's best. I was never that into Nostalgia Ultra, to be quite honest. I thought there were a few tracks on there that didn't quite work. But this one, Thinking About You, Pyramids is crazy. That 9-minute track that just goes off into this dance experimental extravaganza right near the end. Lost, this is just perfect. This album to me is perfect. I play this whenever, even though like sometimes I think, I want to listen to this. Every now and then I'm just like, no, it's got to be Frank. I've got to put on Frank. He's the one. Channel Orange is the album that'll put me in the right mood and it always does. Like, it's just my most replayed album in terms of enjoyment, and it just stands the test of time too. Like, years later, it still sounds perfect, and every album that he releases will always have that factor to it. You know, Frank Ocean, one of the best musicians of our time, without doubt. I hope he gets all the appreciation he deserves in like years to come, because he really needs it all. But yeah, Channel Orange, my favorite Frank album. Tell me your favorite Frank album. I am pretty sure this is everyone's #1 album of 2012. Why wouldn't it be Good Kid, Mad City by Kendrick? Yes, of course. This storytelling on this is like better than most films. Like, seriously, the way this story is told is unbelievable. And Kendrick Lamar's songwriting on this album, I just can't believe how good it is sometimes. Oh my god, some of the songs on this album are just written to perfection. Yeah, of course, he has some pretty trendy, accessible tracks on this album, of course, like Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe. I suppose now looking back, that is one of his weakest ever songs, to be honest. But, you know, it just fits so well in context of the album. I just can't really insult it in any particular way, because it just works for the story. Each track has its way into the album, even if some of them have their trendy beats to them. The lyrics are what you need to pay attention to, because that's what it is all about on this album. Seriously, oof, it's incredible. It really is incredible. You all know this anyway. I'm not saying anything new here. I'm just telling you that this is the album of 2012. And that's my list. I hope you are enjoying my best of year lists. Let me know your favourite of 2012. I'm sure I've mentioned your favourite already, because I'm pretty sure everyone's favourite is Good Kid, Mad City, or Channel Orange, or probably even Death Grips as The Money Store. But if it's not one of those, I'd really want to hear that, because these are the most common albums from 2012, I think. So if your album isn't any of those, then do tell me as well. I want a good discussion in the comments. Yes, subscribe to the channel for more reviews and lists like this, and have a good day.